Mike, when it comes to deciding what film project to work on next, do you tend to choose things that are familiar to you or things that slightly scare you?
Well, a little bit of both. I think, I've had friends approach me with their projects that need help. And so it's more like I care about the people involved, and I know what I have access to, and I can kind of gather the resources together to make something happen. Different sci-fi projects or different documentary projects. And I think, every project scares you, really. I mean, when you're saying, oh man, we're going to pull together this team and do the impossible, every project's always a little bit like, who knows, we're going to try. And that's what you do. And you kind of put together the best people you can, and you hope nothing goes wrong. And I've had things go wrong. I've had lens sets go down on set, and we've had to get a full new, prime set. So it's like you just got to keep going with it and push through.
So how important do you think it is for a filmmaker to be willing to risk? Like, suppose they only want to do stuff that feels safe, only with people that they know, or subject matters that they're really well versed in. I mean, how, in terms of, that comfort zone that we all get into, how important do you think it is for people to really try to break out of that and not stay with stuff that they know so much about that they're like, oh yeah, I got this?
I think, if you're interested in growing, you're not going to grow by doing the same thing over and over again. Although some people get better and better doing the same thing over and over again. And so you kind of have to think, well, are you going to become a pro at comedies and only do comedies, and you got to focus on your comedy? I mean, imagine if someone didn't practice comedy, they would just not be as good. It's like soccer or any kind of sport. If the more you practice, the better you get at it. So that's kind of where I see, different categories of filmmaking. Like, if you want to work with a team of 2 and do that over and over again, you'll probably be a really good team of 2. But when you get on set with 30 people wanting to know what's up, you're not going to know what to do. So yeah, you got to push into new things, Hire 15 people, have a bunch of PAs, have a set, work with 10 actors. These things are going to wow. It's going to be way different than working with a team of 2,
Can you think of a project that would scare you? I mean, just for me as an outsider, you've got these cool photos, you meet all these awesome people, It seems like you have these lasting relationships. So what if you were to do something totally different that wasn't about your connections with these people? How would you approach that? Like maybe a narrative where it's a zombie, whatever. I mean, is there something that, I'm putting words in your mouth, but is there something that scares you that you've yet to try?
Yeah, well, I mean,
a Metallica documentary. I don't know, something where you're gonna meet a mosh pit.
I think what would scare me is if I just wasn't into the script. If I wasn't feeling it, then it would scare me. Most of the time, like, I'm participating and I'm involved and I'm producing or whatever because I'm feeling it, because the script's amazing, because the other people involved are amazing, because someone's on set that I really admire and I admire their acting, and those end up like working out. And I think it'd be scary if I was working on something I didn't believe in, I didn't feel good about. So, and I've read a bunch of scripts, and there's definitely scripts that are like really kind of weird, and I'm just not into it, so I wouldn't be involved. But
even if the pay was good.
Well, I mean, I've definitely helped out on set on different things. I've been a PA. I was a PA on Die Hard 4, and it was actually really frustrating because my job was to guard a street with a walkie-talkie and make sure there was no pedestrians. And I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I felt like I wasn't useful enough. Even though I got paid to be on set that day, I felt like, how more can I help? What more can I be doing? Can I be, So it was frustrating to be kind of like in a position where I couldn't decide to do more.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So it sounds like nothing scares you as long as your heart's in it, but that maybe that's the scary part, is doing stuff that you're just kind of like phoning it in, so
Yeah.
to speak. And if you had to do that for whatever reason, whether to keep a promise to somebody or for the money, how would you do that every day and still show up? Because I think that's a tough thing for a lot of people to do.
Yeah. You know, people have different ways of living life. I think, if every day you're doing something that's inspiring, that you're passionate about, well then every day is awesome and you can live life like fully alive. I think if you're doing something you're not passionate about for too many days, it's a drain, and it becomes depressing.